Hey there, thanks for clicking play. You know how sometimes you find yourself at a point in your life where everything seems to be changing? That's where I am right now, and I'll bet some of you are there too. I want to talk about how we deal with those changes. My name is Jim, it's nice to meet you. This is my first video on this channel, so I really appreciate you checking it out. I'm still working on getting it to look the way I want, but I'm excited to start this little endeavor. So the other day I was sitting here in my home office looking at these pictures on my wall of my son in his Little League uniform and his Eagle Scout portrait, and I thought, wait, didn't that just happen like a couple weeks ago? But he's off in grad school now, and it got me thinking about how life keeps moving forward, whether we're ready for it or not. That's actually what inspired me to start this channel, which I'm calling the third quarter. You see, I had this realization that if we're lucky enough to make it to 90, those of us in our mid-40s to late 60s are right in the third quarter of our lives. And you know what? For many of us, these can be the most productive and rewarding years we have. I'll tell you why I believe that in another video, but let me just share something that really opened my eyes. A few years back, I started getting into a print-on-demand business as, a side hustle. Being a graphic designer and an animator by trade and training, it was a natural fit for me. Back when the industry was still pretty new, I thought about starting a channel to share what I was learning, but I asked a Facebook group that I was in if anyone would be interested in something like that, and a few people really shut me down. They said, just do the work, don't try to be a guru. And I wasn't super confident about the idea, so I listened and I didn't start a channel. But after selling something like 80,000 t-shirts, now people are always asking me for advice. How did you do that? What are the steps? Can you teach me how to do it? That kind of thing. But it taught me something important, which is to trust your instincts, especially when you have something good to share. So, who am I and why should you listen to me? Well, like I said, my name is Jim, and I've spent the last 25 years working in the entertainment marketing industry and wearing a bunch of different hats. I genuinely love what I do. I still have a full-time job. I'm also a husband of 30 years and a father. But since my son's grown now, and all that time I used to spend coaching Little League or going to Boy Scout meetings and helping with homework, that time has been freed up. He has a degree in applied mathematics now, so I haven't been able to help him with his homework in a really long time. But I've noticed something interesting about how we in the 40-plus crowd use YouTube and social media. I think it's different than how younger people use it. Maybe you're like me. I use it to learn things and to check in with people in sort of similar situations to make sure that I'm on the right path. It's kind of like comparing notes with friends who are going through the same thing you are. Look, I'm 59 and retirement's a few years off, but definitely on the horizon. The reality is that retirement timing isn't always up to us. That's why I think we need to be prepared. I learned this watching friends navigate unexpected career changes in their 50s. It's way more challenging to try to find a position doing what you used to do at our age. Unfortunately, ageism is a real thing, and let's be honest, it's kind of easy to feel like you're being pushed out of the conversation. Popular culture, entertainment, advertising, they're just not focused on us anymore. But you know what? That's okay. I don't really want to be the focus of an advertiser, do you? So, what are we going to talk about here on this channel? I think it's the real stuff that matters to us right now. Like, what do you do when your kids have grown up and moved out? And suddenly it's just you and your spouse, or maybe you by yourself. What do you do to fill the time besides watching TV or scrolling your phone? How do you navigate career changes and transitions? How do you deal with the more complicated stuff like when family or friends start having some health issues? Also things like planning trips that suit our interests and energy levels. You want to have a vacation and you want it to be somewhere between spring break at Daytona Beach and shuffleboard on the Lido deck. And I'm not a financial advisor, but I can share how we were able to pay for college while also paying off a house in Los Angeles and saving for retirement on a single family income for 20 years. You know, I don't make a ton of money, I'm middle management, but I want to tell you about my approach and my mindset and the adjustments that I made in order to get that done. Something that I think is really, really important is building a side hustle as a hedge against unexpected changes in your career. I've done this and have been able to set aside some money that could either help me retire a little earlier or act as a buffer if things change suddenly. You can do this too, ethically, so it doesn't conflict with your job, and you can do it in your spare time. That's what I did. And I'll show you how I made it happen and how you could do the same thing. I plan to post something worthwhile once a week, plus an extra video each week sharing my experiences building this channel, showing the analytics, what I'm learning, what's working, what isn't working. I don't know anything about building a YouTube channel, so you can watch as I go through it and maybe learn from my mistakes. Maybe it'll inspire you to start your own channel. And yes, just like everyone else on YouTube, I hope to eventually monetize the channel. Once it does monetize, I think it averages about half a penny per view, so we're not talking about retiring on the Riviera here. But if you enjoy the content and you subscribe, that'd be wonderful. So before I wrap it up, I want to just be clear about one thing. This isn't going to be one of those back in the good old days channels. You know the type I mean, getting stuck in nostalgia. I think it just ages you before your time. Keeping an agile mind and a positive mindset can do a lot to keep you young. I'm more interested in what's ahead of us. The world is changing in some really exciting and sometimes really overwhelming ways, and I think the best way forward is to be prepared, just like the old Boy Scout motto. And that's what I'm doing here, and I hope you'll join me on this little adventure. Sometimes I have to remind myself that we're the grown-ups now, who are supposed to have all the answers. But you know what? I don't have all the answers, and you don't have all the answers. But maybe we can figure them out together. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you soon.